welcome to my channel. Today I have a review for you on the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. So I have been using this primer for several weeks now. I got it at the end of March. It's now the beginning of May, so that gives you an idea. I have used this under a variety of foundations, which I'll talk about in this video. I've also used it with a variety of setting powders. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about my skin type and the type of primers that I typically go for, because this is not a typical primer for me. So my skin type is a combination skin. I get some dry up here, usually on the top of my nose, and then I get some oily around my chin and just around here in my nose area. My typical primers of choice are going to be more pore filling primers, or like a mix of hydrating and pore filling. I know pore filling primers are typically on the drier end or more silicone based, and with the drier ones I typically will use just more moisturizer before I use them in my drier areas. This one is not that type of primer. Now you're probably thinking you are never gonna like this primer because it is not pore filling, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Whenever I use skincare or makeup items that I can get in travel size, I think that's a great way to try a product before you commit to the full size, especially for higher end brands that are a little bit more expensive. I will link how much this is below so you can kind of see the travel size and the full size version of how much it cost. Now with this, the foundations that I have tried it with are a variety of foundations. It is going to be the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. It is going to be the Maybelline Superstay Foundation. It is going to be the Too Faced Peachy Matte Just Peachy Foundation. I never remember what that one's called. It is going to be the Morphe Fluidity Foundation. It is also going to be the Misha BB Cream, as well as the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation Stick. So we've got a wide range. We've got light coverage, we have full coverage, everything in between. We have matte, we have dewy. So we're going to talk about all the pros and cons to those foundations. Now today I am wearing this primer on top of all the other makeup that I'm using. Now, this primer is not pore filling, it is hydrating. I do think it gives some hydrating, but it's not your typical hydrating primer that feels like a moisturizer. This actually feels more like a skin serum. So you're gonna put it on, it's a gel-like texture. It does come in a nice little pump, and when you put it on, you have to be careful to blend it in quickly because it is a gripping primer, so it's a little bit more sticky. It's going to give you that very shiny, hydrating look when you first put it on, but it's not shiny like glittery. It is shiny like gel-like and hydrating, like you put a serum on your skin. Ow. Sometimes that can be a little bit much for me. Now, one of the things that I think is great is it doesn't emphasize my pores. Does it help fill them in? No, but it does kind of give a very basic base to the skin that really does give a glow, and it almost keeps your foundation from sinking into the skin. So it allows your foundation to not settle into those pores and emphasize them. So that is one of the things that I really enjoyed about this primer. Out of all the foundations that I have used this primer with, I don't really love it with foundations that I don't typically like. More matte, less liquidy foundations like the foundation stick or the Morphe foundation, they just didn't work with. Those are too dry, and because this is gripping, it's very hard to blend it out. This primer, I think you have to let set for a minute. So you can't just go in, put the primer on, and then put your foundation on, because it doesn't really mix well. You have to let it sit. You have to really kind of let it dry on your skin to give you that just base. I have gone in too quickly with any of the foundations, even the ones that I do enjoy this product with, and it just doesn't blend well. It starts to hold onto it as it dries, and then you almost can't get your foundation to blend out. That is my one warning for you. Again, I think that this does work very well with foundation. So as long as they're more of that liquidy consistency, it works very well with all of them. I have not had an issue any of the other ones. I actually preferred this with foundations that were anywhere from a satin matte finish to a dewy finish. Dewy finishes you would think, oh my god, that's going to be an overglow. But once I set it with a powder, it does really look really nice. So I have really liked this with the Flower Beauty Light Illusion foundation. I've really liked this with the Just Peachy Comfort Matte foundation. I have liked this with the Maybelline Superstay foundation, which is what is currently on my face today. Now, I don't have highlighter here, and you can kind of see that nice glow, you know. I mean, it's not like oily glow, it's like a glow to the skin. And again, I think it's a really nice foundation. You do just need to be careful that you let it dry. Overall, I do think it does a great job of holding on to my foundation for a good amount of time. I don't think it's super crazy long wearing. Sometimes when I'm pulling a 10 to 12 hour day, I will notice some breakup more in my oily spots because it doesn't really super control that oil. So if you have super oily skin, you may not like this product. You probably will like this product if you have dry skin, but because of that gripping, it does feel like it has a bit of a dry down, but it doesn't make your skin extra dry. Is it going to moisturize to allow your skin to feel moisturized at that moment? Not really. It just kind of prevents your skin from getting dried out from primers. So it's a little bit weird. Again, it feels more like a serum than it does a typical moisturizing primer. So please bear that in mind. Overall, I actually really liked this primer. I think it is a great primer. I would probably even repurchase this again, even though it's not a typical primer that I would buy. That's how much I liked it. It really does a great job, and I do really like it under a lot of these foundations. And to really like it, I actually end up just using more of these long wear foundations because, again, with my lighter coverage foundations, they do typically tend to break apart a lot quicker. So I do really like it with the Maybelline Superstay. I do really like it with the Too Faced Just Peachy foundation as well. Those are probably my top two foundations with this primer. Now, if you don't really like a full coverage foundation, I also do really like it with my Flower Beauty Light Illusion foundation. The Misha BB cream I'm kind of mixed reviews on. It's not my go-to with this primer, but it doesn't look terrible like the Morphe or the Wet n Wild one did. Now, I also don't really like those foundations, so maybe that has something to do with it. And overall, I would say that this primer is really good. The price point on this is going to, you know, maybe deter people, especially if you're on a budget, because it's not the cheapest. I will list the prices below for both sizes of them because off the top of my head I don't really remember what they are. Now, you only get, in the travel size, you only get 0.33 fluid ounces of this primer. That's not a whole lot. So, I mean, I've been using this about a month, and it was full when I bought it, and I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. Hang on, let me switch sides. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but it was full, and it's already down here. So, you're going to go through this pretty quickly. Even for a travel size, you're going to go through this pretty quickly. So, price-wise, I don't necessarily know that it's beneficial if you are on a budget or are really trying to be budget conscious. This might not be the most economical choice for you. Even as a full size, I think you're going to run through it pretty quickly. But I would repurchase it again. I do think that it is a great primer. I would probably buy the full size. Obviously, if I have the money, I'm a budget conscious person and I don't always like to spend my money on higher end makeup brands. Primer is one of the things, though, that I do spend my money on because I do think it works better than anything that I've tried in the drugstore. I know some people really do like drugstore primers, but for me personally, I've never found one that really stacks up to a lot of the higher end primers that I use. This one is probably going to be, it hasn't beaten out my Holy Grail, which is the Smashbox Pore Minimizing Primer, but it is definitely one that I like. And again, it doesn't really emphasize the pores, and I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. Again, I do have other makeup on, but it does give a nice flat base to the skin. I definitely give this a B+ or an A-. Like, that's how good this is. So I would definitely be repurchasing. I hope if you are thinking about buying this primer, definitely pick up the travel size, give it a whirl. It's definitely worth trying. So that is going to be my quick overall review. I hope I have gotten all the information that you're looking for in this video. If not, and there's anything you want to know, just leave your questions in the comments below and I will try to answer them as best I can. I hope you come back again and you see us for more reviews. Have a wonderful day. Bye.